Let me guess. You get your mix sounding perfect in the studio, whether it's your monitors, headphones, maybe both, sounds perfect. You take it out to the car and it just falls flat. Super muddy, unclear. It sounds weird. It's all off. I get it. It's happened to me a million times, more than I could count. But what if I told you it doesn't need to happen? You don't even need to check it in your car ever again if you do these things. Yo, what's good, guys? Inswain with Inswain Audio. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, make sure to subscribe and stick around because I drop videos just like this every single day. A lot of gems you're not going to want to miss out. All right, so if I told you that you won't ever even need to do a car test again, would you believe me? Well, I'm being for real. It's a lot easier said than done, but eventually you can get to that point. Obviously, yeah, you have to be good at mixing. If you're not good at mixing, you're going to struggle with everything, right? But you are, so we'll just assume that. Other than that, though, the main thing, it's really only one thing, and that is you have to be reference mixing. Reference mixing is when you listen to other songs or just a song, one reference mix, multiple, and you compare your mix and you make sure that yours holds up against it, whether it's very similar or just vaguely similar and it's just a vibe thing or anything in between. That's what reference mixing is. If you do this and your mix holds up to the reference mixes, then it's going to pass the car test, it's going to pass the AirPod test, the Bluetooth speaker test, the phone test, anything you say, it's going to do that because if your mix sounds like these other professional mixes that you chose in your studio, whether that's headphones or monitors, whatever, if it sounds like it there, it's going to sound like it everywhere else, right? Let's use Drake as an example. If you're using a Drake song as a reference and you get your mix to sound just like the Drake song, just as good, it hits as hard, the vocal matches, everything is as good, equivalent to that Drake song in your studio, then guess what? It's going to sound like a Drake song in your car. It's going to sound like a Drake song in your AirPods. It's going to sound like a Drake song off your phone. So reference mixing really is the answer to what we call translation, where it sounds good across all systems. That's translation. If you can get your mix to sound as good as a reference mix wherever you're mixing, it's going to sound like it everywhere else. Now, you don't need to copy the mix one to one, right? It can have its own differences and idiosyncrasies and originality and be unique. That's fine and actually probably preferred. But if it holds up and is as good as or equivalent to and in the same ballpark as your reference mixes in your studio, it's going to do the same thing everywhere else. The problem is when you don't reference mix, you're making your song sound like what you think a Drake song sounds like in your studio, but you never actually reference it, so it's not actually what the Drake song sounds like. So then it's not actually going to sound like a Drake song in your car, in your AirPods, etc., right? You see where I'm going with this. So that's why reference mixing is so important. Another component to this is just being really familiar with your studio setup, whether it's monitors or headphones, whatever it is, you have to get really familiar with how they sound. So you know what all of these songs sound like that you listen to, and you know if there's a bump in the mid-range or a high boost or whatever it is. And you don't even need to be able to articulate it. You just need to subconsciously understand it. How do you do that? By listening to it all the time. So when you're not mixing, play music out of your speakers or your headphones, whatever you use, your monitors. Just listen to so much of your favorite music out of it, all genres. The more you can get familiarized and accustomed to your setup that you mix on, the more you're going to be able to match references and therefore get translation and not have to take your song out to the car and back in and tweaking it a million times just to get it right. You can get it right on the first try. So there you have it, guys. I know it seems really simple, but if you can get your mix to match references and get accustomed to your setup and what you monitor on, you're never going to have to do the car test and the AirPod test, all this. You can do it if you want to check to make sure, but you're going to find that eventually you don't really need it. So there you have it, guys. I hope this helped. I really mean this one. Let me know down in the comments below if this is something you do or something you want to try to do, maybe where you struggle. We're all here to help. Anyways, guys, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. We're on the road to 1,000 subs. One day we're going to look back and laugh at these numbers, man. Shout out to y'all. Anyways, Inswain with Inswain Audio. I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Peace.